Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. Today, we want to talk to Alex Langer, the CEO of Sierra Madre Gold and Silver. Alex, good morning to Canada. How are you, my friend?
And I'm doing very, very, very well. Thank you.
Super. Great to see you. And gold 3,130. We love it. Silver on the breakout. You are the latest gold and silver producer in Mexico. Still small, but ramping up, getting larger. So that is fantastic. You must be happy, aren't you?
Yeah, no, things are really, really good. So no complaints, Jochen. And again, yeah, we're probably the newest precious metals producer out there. We started
Mhm.
full commercial production on January 1st. So as of today, it's almost exactly 3 months. And, our timing couldn't have been better. It's one of those
Definitely.
things. You got to be a little bit good to be lucky and lucky to be good. So things have gone
Mhm.
really, really well. So we're,
Super.
we're pretty
Perfect.
happy.
We saw that those press releases, January commercial production and production in January, production February. Now I was missing the production news for March. Any changes or a problem, or what's the reason for that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So we just to remind everybody, we started test mining. That
Mhm.
was at the end of June of 2024 for almost 7 months earlier than we had originally planned. Price of gold, silver had really moved. We were
Mhm.
able to bring in a loan from our largest shareholder, First Majestic, which allowed us to get into production, again, much quicker than we had planned. And so we wanted to guide to the market that, commercial production, if all went well, would be, early in 2025. And of course, we hit that on January 1st. But we were giving updates in terms of how much we had processed, how much we had sold, just to let people know that things had kind of incrementally grown and just that things were going well. And I think that's important for the market. So we had done that all the way up. We announced 270 tons per day, then 350, then 425, and then 500. And then January 1st, we announced full commercial production, and that would be running for close to 90 days at that point at 500 tons per day. In
Mhm.
January, we did do an update. We just kind of gave the numbers of January, which was, our best month, obviously, um, at that time. And then at the end of that press release, we did say, moving forward, we would be, communicating our output, both financial and geological and our production rates quarterly moving forward. So we did January as kind of the last one. We really set mid-February, and that we really wouldn't have much news until we had year-end
Mhm.
2024 results and then quarter one of 2025. And quarter one ends today, so we'll have news in the not too distant future, but things have gone well. So it's nothing to do other than we just, doing proper
Yeah.
communication now. We're kind of moving from a junior to, a producer. So you have
Yeah.
to, set expectations and now deliver on those. And really excited to
Perfect.
be able to share that information with everyone.
Fantastic, super. No, I can imagine also quarterly reporting makes much more sense than monthly, of course. And I think it's a lot of work to put those things together. We know that all. So from that perspective, metal prices are fantastic. How is the mine running? How do you operate? And very important question: what are you doing with the cash flow? Are you buying equipment? What is going on?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So things have gone very, very well. One thing we've always been really focused on, and we've had to, is getting our development caught up.
Mhm.
So we've been working on that. So a lot of cash flow we've been generating is going to underground development, which is really important. So if there's any issues moving forward, we'll be able to, withstand that and move to different areas and things like that. And also moving into the higher grade areas. So we've been really concentrating on that is moving towards the higher grade resource area. I think we've already, said to the market of more than 50% of our material that we process today has been outside the
Mhm.
resource. So that's just development material that we're
Oh,
finding, shiny, material, and you'd expect that in these types of mines, and we're actually processing it. So what's been really quite interesting the last little while is we're starting to rework some of our mine plans because of the price of silver and gold right now. We can very much profitably use lower grade material that we had even planned, and
mhm.
even with close to 50 million ounces of silver within the resource, it's much larger if you grab some of this material. So we've been doing that, but also concentrating on higher grade to increase profitability, and it takes time. So development is slow as it takes. We can only blast twice a day, and it's the end of the shift. So after a 10-hour shift, we do a bit more development. So we put in the stope mate that blasts whatever it is, 3 meters and you have to wait 2 hours for it to drop down, and then you keep on
Yeah,
going. So we're getting there. We're getting to the higher grade material, and people will be able to see that within our financials that are coming out. That monthly things are progressing, and profitability is getting better, and all that good stuff. So we are generating cash flows, and with that money, we have been upgrading our equipment. To answer your other question, which is really
mhm,
important, we've been renting a lot of it to date, which has been fine, but it is much higher cost. Actually, adds quite a bit to your all-in sustaining cost. So as we're able to buy new equipment and replace the equipment we are renting, really drops our costs and increases profitability even further. So to answer your question, we're really being focused on equipment and more development, so that every month we're increasing cash flows,
mhm.
increasing development, and increasing recoveries and the amount of silver and gold that we're producing.
Okay, super. Recoveries is something really important. Where are you today? Where do you think you can be, let's say, end of the year, maybe next year? Because I think this is something to make the most easy cash. When you have a higher recovery, you can make much more cash without moving 1 ton.
It's true. So they've always been in line with historic numbers. Again, we haven't shared that information yet. That'll be out in the quarterly financials in terms of our recoveries, things like that, but they've been strong. So for us, it's always important to make sure we have strong recoveries, because if not, a lot of that material just goes out to the tailings, and you don't want that. So it
Mhm,
is a really big focus of us. That's one thing that's we've decided at an early stage is we want to be profitable. So we could probably produce more ounces if we wanted to, but then you're actually losing more into the tailings. So it's a fine line. So for us, it's really focused on recoveries, and it's going to be above 80%, much higher than that. So we're doing well, which is important. We could probably produce higher amounts, but then your recoveries would drop down. So it's a fine line there. You're also costing more with reagents and things like that. So we're really
mhm.
focused on decent grade, but really profitability. And that's going to be kind of the mark of the company on a quarterly basis, which you'll see. And moving forward is that we're not too concerned with the amount of ounces produced, but really on the profitability of the company,
Mhm.
since we own 25% as management. So it's really important for us to, make sure we're running it, fairly, and
Yeah,
doing
and
everything we
properly.
can to save on costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I saw in your resource update from 2023 for La Guitarra, for example, at the indicated category, you were calculating with 220 grams silver equivalent. Can you say something about what you are, at what grades you are mining today, roughly? Or is that just that you say, oh, no, it's test mining, it varies so much?
Yeah. So again, we don't have feasibility. We don't have pre-fees or anything like that. So I can't say what the
Mhm,
grades are, but you'll be able to tell without the quarter.
mhm,
The 220 grams, that's historically what it is.
mhm,
So that's when we get into the material. So again, about half the material we processed to date is being off resource. Which has been good because it's actually quite profitable at this stage. So we're getting towards those grades. And again, our grades are increasing, but with today's silver and gold
okay.
prices, we're able to generate a profit at
Yeah. Lower
quite a bit
grades.
less than that, which is great.
Yeah. Okay. Super. Then let's stick for a second with exploration, and let's talk. Let's say future exploration on the one hand. On the other hand, maybe a resource update. Then, and I 43-101. What are your plans here? Because now you have the cash
Yeah,
flow, so you can drill also, right?
exactly. So that's a very fair question. So the reason we bought La Guitarra is for the exploration upside. We truly feel it is one of the largest undeveloped silver districts in all of Mexico. There's 8 major former mines within our project
Mhm.
boundary, 25,000 hectares. It's very rare for a junior of our size to hold a whole district. You'd maybe find a junior maybe having one or two former mines of that size, but to have 8 is pretty unheard of. Beyond that, we've now identified well over 60 kilometers of strike length material at surface, and we want to go test it. But again, with the move of silver and gold, it made a lot of sense for us to push in production because of the shape of the mine and the mill and the ability to generate cash flows quickly. We, kind of moved from exploration towards production. And
Mhm.
one thing we have noticed is that we can actually increase our throughput, increase the mill capacity out of cash flows relatively easily. So the full nameplate capacity of the mill is 500 tons per day. And the largest bottleneck, for instance, is the ball mills. So we have 3 ball mills. One is about 220 tons per day. The other one's 200, and the other one's 80. There's a fourth one. It doesn't work, but we are looking to replace that. So for about $1 million US, we could probably add another 400 ton per day ball mill. So we can increase, you know, close to 25, 30% for $1 million US. It starts to make a little bit more sense. So I truly see a straightforward pathway where we would get up to, 650 tons per day in 2026. And then by the end of
Mhm.
2027, if all goes well, we should be at 1,000 tons per day. What's great about that is obviously your cash flows increase,
Mhm.
doubling what we're producing now, which will be nice. But again, we do want to generate cash flows for exploration. So we're struggling with that if we want to explore because we really, really want to. Everyone in the
Mhm.
company wants to explore, but with today's gold and silver prices, it seems to make a lot of sense to increase production and
Yep.
generate more cash flow so we have more cash down the road to go explore. And silver's not going anywhere, and if we're able to minimize dilution as we push forward, I think that's really
Mhm.
attractive, at least for me as being one of the larger shareholders.
Yeah, definitely. No, I see it the same way for sure. That makes sense now to collect the cash when the prices are high. I mean, to be honest, you know me, I'm a total gold and silver bull. I see gold at $4,000 and silver at 62. So that could happen already this year, latest next year. So that would help you also a lot. And I think we are really on the path there. So from that perspective, what are your plans then? Let's put it that way. When do you think you will be in really commercial production, not test mining? And when do you think you can go? You can say, okay, now we have stable 500 tons per day, but we purchased that ball mill maybe. Then we will be at 700, 750. Would that be something for next year already? Maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah. So again, it's going to depend on cash flow and how things are running, but we're full commercial production now. So I'll say that grades and where we're mining that'll increase. Profitability will increase on a steady
Mhm.
basis just because we're still continuing development. I would say maybe another 2 to 3 months, and we should be fully, you know, on a quarterly basis. This is what we're looking at. These are the cash flows. This is it until we increase throughput.
Okay.
Again, we're not talking a huge amount of money. As soon as I have, let's say, 2 to 3 million US, and free cash flow that I have to pay back First Majestic in terms of the 5 million US loan. So
Mhm.
we're squirreling that cash away right now as well. So making sure that I'm comfortable with that. Then we'll go ahead and purchase the new
Mhm.
equipment. We'll probably do a new paste backfill plant, which would also decrease costs. So it's just building up that kitty.
Mhm.
Today's prices, it's going to probably happen much quicker than we had originally planned. But again, we have to be conservative. So if all goes well, hopefully by the end of the year, we're, getting those bids in and deciding when we want to make that first big capital investment. And again, not a huge amount, maybe 1.5 million for the first one and 1.5 million shortly thereafter. So once we have 3 million kind of squirreled away, that's when I would see us kind of move up to the 650 ton per day. Then you're in capital, then you increase again your cash flows, and we do have other options. At that point, we could probably lease some equipment and things like
Mhm.
that. So we're going through that process right now. But
Mhm.
again, profitability to start, build up that cash inventory, and then we will really start to rock
Okay, super. So no plans for a feasibility study. It's not needed.
it. So we had planned maybe on it.
Mhm.
One thing with feasibility studies is really a bit more of a guesstimate than practicality. We have all the records from when First Majestic ran the mine or when Greg, our chief operating officer, ran it. So we know our costs inside and out, much more than a feasibility study would ever, show us. Feasibility would be nice so we could give guidance saying, hey, this is what we're expected to produce. This is what our all sustaining costs might look like. Those are estimates you can share. For us, all we're going to be able to say for the time being is, this is what we did this quarter. Next quarter should be the same.
Mhm.
Hopefully it'd be better. But that's what people can kind of extrapolate the information that we've done in the previous quarter and push that forward. Having said that, once you have 1 year of production, you can start to give a bit of guidance. So we'll
Mhm.
be there, relatively soon, and looking forward to, at least sharing the plans a bit further. The costs, the grades, all of that will come.
Mhm.
Just, we are in production, commercial production, without feasibility. So we have to be a little bit careful on what we can and can't say. And
Okay.
but our internal numbers look good, and we're really, really happy with the progress so
Yeah.
far.
Honestly, as a shareholder, because I'm a shareholder in your company, I don't care about a feasibility study as long as you deliver what you are saying. Then I'm fine. And
Exactly.
profits, please.
Yeah.
One other question. I know a lot of miners hate those questions, but I know you are also a capital market specialist. So, what's your view on today's gold and silver prices? What have you witnessed lately in Europe? I know you were traveling.
Yeah. You know what? These prices, it's amazing. You know, you can always kind of hope when we enter production. You
Mhm.
know, I did chat with you, Jochen, quite a bit, and you're always a champion. And you were right. I think you called 3,000 gold not too long ago, which is amazing. So you hit it, and that's great. So you know, just a small anecdote. I was away with the family on holiday. I happened to be in Paris and drove by a shop, and I saw, I don't know,
Like
20 Range
a precious
Rovers.
metals trader or
Yeah,
a
so
seller.
I thought it was a designer store. I'm like, oh, there must be a new bag. Maybe it's a celebrity, and it was a gold. It was a precious metals store that sold gold and silver. There was a
No.
lineup of 100 people, bodyguards, security guards, people not from Paris, mainly Middle East, buying as much physical gold and silver as they possibly could. This was last week. I think
Wow.
in France they don't have GST, or they don't have tax on precious metals, and other countries do. I believe Germany does, and a few others. I remember some of the shows. It can be tricky to because of the tax consequences, but I had never seen this many people, that much security, that much police, that many bodyguards buying physical silver and gold, not in
I
jewelry
love to
form,
hear
but
that.
in bullion. It was wild. It was wild. It
Great.
was pretty cool. So there you go.
Fantastic.
So just as a side, that may be even more bullish in
Yeah.
terms of silver gold moving forward when you have that many people, that much money buying physical silver and gold.
Mhm.
Pretty neat.
Fantastic. Super.
Yeah.
So as you know, my prognosis by 2030 is 9,250 for gold. That's my latest chart analysis, and silver probably 114. So you love to hear that. So
Yeah.
what are your estimates for gold and silver? Because you must have a plan when you are a producer. You must be much more conservative, of course. But what would you make happy over the next years for the gold and silver price, or what do you think?
Okay. So for us, in our internal numbers for silver and gold, $22 silver and 1,800 gold. And we
Oops.
so anything above that, we are thrilled. We had a big discussion of moving our silver guide to 24, and
Mhm.
we did it actually. So when our internal numbers are 24 and I think 1,900 gold. So
Okay.
there you
Wow.
go. Anything above that is fantastic.
Mm.
We have a couple of traders I'm quite close to, and it was quite interesting information the other day. They're using $46 silver now, internal numbers for 2026.
Oops. Not bad. Well,
I would love that.
that
And
matches
that's
well with my estimates. I
there
like
you
to hear
go.
that.
And this is one of the
Wow.
big, big, big trading houses. So
Fantastic.
there you
So if
go.
we take your company now, your production, your, let's say, estimated hypothetical calculation, I know for the regulators, forward-looking statement,
Yeah.
but let's assume a base case you have, not too positive, not too negative, just a base case, yeah?
Yeah.
And we would have an average price this year of, let's say, $38 silver as an average and $3,000 gold as an average. Would that mean with the estimated production that you could pay back the whole First Majestic thing by the end of the year?
We could. Yeah. I'll give you an estimate. We wouldn't, but yeah, if all went well, for sure, it would give us that much cash flow to be able to do
Mhm.
that.
Fantastic. Super.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then I have a good feeling because your quarterly numbers, when do you think they will come out? End of
Yeah,
April
so
or?
year-end numbers will be out. We had them done right away. But when you're on the smaller exchange, the auditors, they usually do the big guys first because they have tighter deadlines, and then they move to us. So we've had the auditors down to site. It's gone really well. So we're getting close. I think they should be out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we're getting there. And then right away we'll move into quarter one, which has already
Mhm.
started, obviously. So that would be kind of mid-May to end of May.
Okay.
First time for a company, it takes a little bit more work, to be
Yep.
honest. Just making sure, we're reporting properly. We're going to
Mm,
split into two releases. One will be geological, the other will
mm,
be financial, just so we have more information for everyone and more to talk about. So it's getting there. Within the next 2 months, that'll all be out, which is
super.
great. And we'll talk about some of the equipment we purchased and where we're been mining and things like that. So it's
Mhm.
exciting. Yeah, it really is.
Super,
Yeah,
fantastic. So I would
yeah,
say then we talk with approximately the next 4 to 6 weeks, and
that sounds great.
again for an update when we have more numbers, and then you can really talk about it. That's
For
important.
sure.
But thank you very much for your time. Thanks for the great job you and the team did. And we are happy shareholders, and the only thing is we need to break out those 65 cents, and then let's move it.
There we go. Thanks a lot, Jochen. I appreciate the chat.
Super.
Always
Hey,
fun.
thank you very
Great.
much, Alex. I
Thank
wish
you.
you well and see you soon, hopefully.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All the
Thank
best.
you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Alex Langer, the CEO of Sierra Madre Gold and Silver. As I said, I am a shareholder here in the company, the latest small gold and silver producer from Mexico. And don't forget, First Majestic holds 44%, the management holds 25%. That is also super important. So the company is in extremely well held hands. But the guys are doing a great job from test mining directly now into commercial production, 500 tons per day. They will enlarge that this year through the run of the year, probably to 650, maybe 700. We will see. But the most important thing is internal calculation was $22 silver, $1,800 gold. So you see there is a lot of room for profits, what they obviously do, and they reinvest by now wisely the money, also pay back the First Majestic loan, and buying new equipment, which lowers then the cost again because they do not have to rent that. So really make sure you have a very, very close look on Sierra Madre Gold and Silver, because my price target is for the company $1.25 to 150 over the course of the next 9 to 12 months. So make sure you are with us here on that great journey. So thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.